Hey, good morning. Coming to you from San Diego, California. We are headed up to Los Angeles. Dylan Gorman's putting on a photogrammetry workshop today. We'll be the guest speaker, so we'll be in class and out in the field all day. And then after that, we've got 5 cell sites, and we've got one roof that we have to do a thermal map of. And we're going to try to fit all of that into the next 48 hours. So yeah, let's get packed up and on the road. All right, so we just got here to the Marriott for Dylan Gorman's photogrammetry course. Got all our gear packed up, loaded up, and we're gonna head inside, and should be a lot of fun. So for the next year or so, I still ran the production company and started working on doing a lot of R&D stuff for utility inspections. That's when I launched my business, partnered up with somebody in the space, and we started doing some demo work, some small jobs around the state, working with municipals and small co-ops. And then later in 2018 is when Hurricane Michael came through and just destroyed the entire state of Florida up through Georgia. At that time we had 6 pilots and we were kind of spread out all over doing disaster response. We had a much more refined method to what we were doing, and started work up in Georgia because Florida was so bad that you couldn't access anywhere. So started working in Georgia and made our way down. And that was the first time that I personally saw just how useful drones were going to be. After I think it was our 3rd day of capture, we had the data compiled. We were making lists, like pole inventory lists, everything. We were going above and beyond because we were trying to figure out the best method. So we turned all this data in. We had flown about half of the utility company's line, and they said, you know, if we were to just double this and say everything that you found so far, double it, let's assume that the other half is just as bad. They realized that they had over-ordered about 2,000 wooden poles for poles they needed to replace. And so I remember at the time meeting with the one of the directors there at the command center, and he said, you know, these poles cost us $1,200 or whatever it was. We're gonna have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting out there. These poles are gonna rot before we ever use them. You guys just saved us a couple $100,000 in us canceling this order before it gets down here. So that was, for me, it was really eye-opening. Like, oh wow, there's other practical uses other than just taking photos to see if you know, conductor lines aren't tied onto the insulators properly, or transformer aren't bolted up to the pole, they're starting to fall off. So we used that. We started developing an AI software that did inventory. It did anomaly detection, and it was also able to update mapping systems. All right, so just finished up the drone photogrammetry workshop here in LA. I think the future for the drone industry is bright. Met a couple really cool guys today, and so now we're gonna pack up and head up to Victorville, try to fix one site, and then head back down into LA and knock out a couple sites tomorrow, and also hit the thermal roof inspection tomorrow, and head back home to start the work week. Made it all the way up to Victorville. Got the corrections we needed for this site. So now we are going to drive all the way back across the county to the west side of LA and camp out for the night in a hotel. We got a couple sites to hit in the morning, and we'll start working our way back down. We can get back on the road and try to beat this traffic. Good morning. All right, so we are up. We've got all of our data transferred and organized onto our hard drives, and we're packed up here in the hotel room, ready to head out. We're gonna hit 4 cell sites today, and then we also have the rooftop that we need to map out. So midday we'll stop and do the optical mapping, and then we'll come back a little after sunset and we'll do the thermal mapping. And that'll be a wrap on a very long weekend, but it's been a lot of fun, been a productive weekend, so let's get on the road. All right, so compass is calibrated. We've run through the pre-flight checklist. We're good to go. So now we're going to take off and start collecting data. Whew, all right, we just got done with site number 2. It is starting to get a little warm out. Headed to site 3, then we're going to stop by the rooftop site and fly our optical. We'll hit site 4, probably grab some dinner, and then head back and hit the rooftop for the thermal map. And then we will have completed a very impressive 48-hour run. Go home and get some sleep and get ready for the work week. right, so we are out here on site and we are doing a mapping mission of a series of buildings, rooftop mapping. And part of it, we do an optical scan, which we did earlier this afternoon when we had good daylight. And now we're gonna do the thermal portion. Typically we'll do this about an hour to an hour and a half after sunset. On a day that was sunny, it was able to warm the roof up so that we could see any kind of anomalies, soft spots, anything like that that may be going on. All right, so let's get this thing up in the air and capture some data.